Man, the Bulls really needed to win this one. They really needed to win this game, especially with no Trae Young and DeAndre Hunter, two of their starters, one of which is their best player, and in a game that would have had the Bulls leapfrog the Atlanta Hawks in the standings for the 9th spot, given the fact they would have owned the tiebreaker in an actual win, and would have been better positioned themselves to actually make a run at the 8th seed. But now, with just 3 games left on the season, the Bulls being 2 games back of both the Raptors and the Atlanta Hawks, the Bulls have all but solidified that 10 seed for the final play-in spot, which will mean the Bulls would need to win 2 games on the road to get into the playoffs. Not going to be easy. In fact, a 10 seed has never won a game in the play-in in either conference. Granted, it's only been 2 years since the play-in was instituted, but still. I guess the good news is the Bulls officially secured a spot in the play-in regardless of the seeding. The Bulls either needed to win tonight or a Magic loss to clinch that spot, and luckily for the Bulls, the Magic did lose to the Cavs, making them officially eliminated from playoff contention. But anyway, about this game, I think the thing that disappointed me the most in this one, and really this has been the case all season long, but it's simply the fact that the Bulls followed up one of their better games on the year, arguably their best half of basketball period in that game on Sunday against the Grizzlies. They fought through adversity, they overcame a big deficit against one of the better teams in the NBA, and at a critical moment in the season with final games winding down on the schedule. And every time you think, all right, the Bulls maybe have figured things out, they come out the next game knowing full well what's at stake against a team that is neck and neck with them in the standings, and they come out flat. The start of the game said it all. Hawks went up, 13-2. Bogdanovic, the Bulls killer, was lighting the Bulls up in the early going. Guys looked tired. They weren't coming to the ball for rebounds. They weren't closing out on shots. They simply did not want it as bad as the Hawks did. And it goes back to these guys saying, hey, every game from here on out needs to be treated like it's a Game 7. Definitely didn't look like they were treating this one as a Game 7 with how they started out in the game. Going down 20 in the first half. Now, the Bulls, to their credit, did make some strides. They did bring more energy coming out of halftime, cutting the lead down to 10. They even brought it to single digits at one point, but throughout the whole second half, even when momentum was building, even when the Bulls were getting stops or the Hawks were turning it over, they never brought it below 9 points. There was a point where Patrick Beverley stole the ball, made a nice play, but missed the layup, which would have cut the lead to 7. That was the closest the Bulls got to cutting the lead further. Oddly enough, I actually thought the Bulls were going to come back and actually win this game. I think after watching how the guys came out in the second half against the Grizzlies and torched them to reverse course and blow out the game, the way the Bulls were playing and getting their confidence back up in this one, I really thought they were going to settle down, get stops, and go on a run to take the game. But the Bulls just couldn't hit their shots, especially from outside. Both Coby White and Patrick Williams had some big opportunities to hit key threes that would have brought the game within 2 possessions, but they just didn't go down. Good looks, but they didn't go down. The Bulls could not defend the paint tonight. Hawks got whatever they wanted at the basket. I don't even know what the points in the paint discrepancy was between the two teams, but it wasn't even close. The Hawks dominated. Just goes back to the need for rim protection on this team that was never addressed in the offseason or at the trade deadline. And of course, it didn't help when you go up against a bigger team in the Atlanta Hawks. You want to go outside, but no, the Bulls couldn't hit their threes either and went 7 for 31 from deep. The make or break of the game for the Bulls, always at the 3-point line, whether on offense on their side or giving up too many threes to their opponent, which has been the case in a lot of games all year. The Bulls got absolutely worked on the glass, 48-32, 48-32. Is someone outside of Vucevic going to rebound the ball? Not sure why Andre Drummond only put in 8 minutes when he's one of your better rebounders and was actually being aggressive in the paint in a game where the Hawks were killing the Bulls on the inside. Bulls had 16 assists in this game. That is awful when you talk about the lack of ball movement. They took care of the ball, only 8 turnovers compared to the Hawks' 16. That's what makes it even more frustrating in the sense that the Bulls were able to force all these turnovers, but they could not capitalize. Zach Lavine tonight, 26 points, 6 assists, 11 for 21, but 1 for 7 from 3. Just could not get it done from downtown when the Bulls really needed those shots to fall. DeMar DeRozan, an off game for him, 21 points, but 7 for 17 shooting. And then Vucevic, 19 points, was great inside, going 8 for 15, but nothing doing from 3. 19 points, 10 rebounds, and 3 assists. The Bulls really should have played more through Vucevic when Capella was out of the game. Onyeka Okongwu isn't a matchup for Vucevic, and he'll take him to the hole every night if given the opportunity. Patrick Williams actually had a solid game though. Very aggressive, had a nice fadeaway shot, nice offensive board and putback dunk, 15 points, 2 steals, and 2 blocks, 6 for 9 shooting. But on the other hand, Coby White, Again, Mr. Inconsistency, 3 for 10 tonight, 0 for 4 from 3, some of them wide open looks too. I mean, I still think Coby looks better, like even in an off game, he's still handling the ball better, he's making better decisions, and his overall effort on defense is still leaps and bounds better than whatever was. But yeah, it just goes back to Coby being this very streaky shooter, and it's unfortunate when the Bulls definitely need a scorer like him coming off the bench. When Coby is on that second unit, the Bulls do well. They more often than not win games when Coby is shooting the ball well. I just don't know if it's ever going to happen on a nightly basis where we can rely on Coby in that way. It's funny because I was actually about to do a video on how we all owe Coby an apology for all the slander and criticism we threw his way ever since coming to Chicago, and that he's just kept battling, continued working on his game, and got better, really proving a lot of Bulls fans wrong. I probably will still make a video, but obviously it'll look better coming off a bigger game from him rather than the game that we just saw. Anyway, just a bad loss for the Bulls when you consider the stakes of this game, where they are in the final stretch of the season, and the Hawks being shorthanded as well. The Bulls are right back at it tomorrow too, heading to Milwaukee for their final matchup against the Bucks. The Bucks played tonight as well and actually won, so I wouldn't be surprised if they actually rest a lot of their guys, considering they now have a 3-game lead on the Celtics for that number 1 seed, and it's a back-to-back game for them. They haven't clinched the number 1 seed, but you'd have to think it's going to be all but theirs. So hey, why play hard against the Bulls, right? Give the Bulls an easy one so they still have an outside chance at the 8th seed. Although who knows, Bulls seem to play worse when guys are actually out of the lineup on the opposing team, as if they gets to their heads that they just need to win this game because the other team is shorthanded. Anyway, we'll be right back at it tomorrow. As always, guys, be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.